What's the most disrespectful thing that's happened to you in the service industry?
I worked at a winery for years and I loved my job and I loved my bosses. And one day I came in after lunch and there was a big group of people in there and they said, hey, we want to do the tour and the tasting. And I said, that's fine, let's go, let's start the tour. And about partway through, I don't know, my boss came out screaming at me and she said, you thief, you stole, there's money missing from the till, we're like a couple $100 short, where is it? And she made me go get my purse and my wallet, and she made me open it in front of these people and show her the inside, and she made me open every compartment. I was crying, saying I didn't take anything, I swear to God, I don't know what happened. And then she told me to empty my pockets, and at that point I was so upset and pissed off that I just left. And she called me later on that night and she's like, oh, it was our mistake. Like, she was laughing this shit off. She's like, our mistake. Camille cashed out halfway through the day. That is her husband, for I don't even know what reason. It was like for books or something. And she goes, are you still coming in tomorrow? And like, she was so lighthearted and funny about it. And I just said, fuck you. And I never went back. But I will tell you guys, if you ever ask me what the most humiliating thing to ever happen to me was, that was it. And I was not putting up with that shit for like $10 an hour.
What's the most disrespectful thing that's happened to you in the service industry? I'll go first.
Are you ready for this? Okay, so I worked in fine dining. The dining room looked exactly like Titanic. I was wearing a tuxedo. Plates at this place could literally run you about $2,000 a person if you didn't have fancy wine. This was fine dining. This man walks in for his 30th anniversary. His wife is in this beautiful floor-length mink coat. They sit down. I put an amuse-bouche down in front of him, and he tells me that he's allergic to shellfish. I say, no problem. Our chefs can absolutely accommodate that. And he says, no, come here. And he goes, if you give me any shellfish tonight, I'm going to make you unzip my pants and rub my testicles.
What's the most disrespectful thing that's happened to you in the service industry?
Okay, so if you guys didn't hear part 1, go back and listen to part 1, but this is part 2. So the guy ended up paying, and after he paid, I gave him his receipt, and he was just sitting there looking mad as hell waiting for his order. Okay, whatever. I gave him his order finally, like literally 5 minutes later, because we're fast as hell there, and he left. So remember I said that was at about 10 o'clock in the morning. Around 1 p.m., my boss calls me into his office. He sits me down and he tells me he has something to talk to me about. And I'm thinking maybe he wants me to work another shift later, because they always asked us to stay late. So he sits me down and he tells me, Maria, we have a complaint with your name on it. So this man went on the mobile app and he used the name on the receipt from my register to file a complaint. In the complaint, he wrote that I gave him the worst service ever and that I was so rude to him and so inconsiderate, and that he would absolutely never suggest anybody that he knows to eat at this location. What the fuck? So I explained to my boss, and I'm not gonna lie, my boss did not like me. Did not like me. Let me tell you why he didn't like me. Because my nose was pierced in college, and he was a man of God. Asked me, why would you do that? Why would you get your nose pierced? Because it's fucking cool, Kyle. Anyways, I explained to my boss what happened, and it didn't really sound like he believed me, so I told him, you can check the cameras. I kept that smile the whole time. Anyways, I guess he decided not to write me up for something I didn't do. But yeah, people fucking suck in the food industry, and I will absolutely never work there again.
What's the most disrespectful thing that's happened to you in the service industry?
So back when I was a server, I worked at this one really, really nice Italian restaurant. And during the day, we would have specials where things are cheaper. You can get like a buy one, take one home pasta, and or like a meal where it comes with like whatever. Anyways, this couple comes in, and like, this is for all the girls out there who are always like, oh, a waitress is looking at my man. Like, no, it's like, dude, don't be disrespectful. Literally, waiters and waitresses are being paid to be nice. They want you to feel good and enjoy your experience. And so when I'm smiling and I'm being super nice and I'm asking you what you want and giving you recommendations, is because that's my job, not because I'm trying to hit on you. Anyways, this girl and her boyfriend order salads to start. So her boyfriend orders a salad and he adds like 3 things onto it. And adding 3 things onto it makes it like $7 extra or whatever. And so I point out, hey, on the menu, we actually have this salad exactly as you want it, and it's significantly cheaper because you're not adding anything to it. Would you like to order that instead? And the girl looks at me and she's like, my boyfriend just told you what he wanted to fucking order, bitch. Whoo! He looked at her like he did not want to be there. He looked at her like, you are like literally disgusting me. And then he looked at me like, I am so fucking sorry. He didn't say sorry. He just looked at me pleading, like, please read my mind that I'm so sorry. And I just looked at her and I was like, okay, so I'll be right back with that. Thank you.
What's the most disrespectful thing that's happened to you in the service industry?
So back in 2008, I used to be a bartender, right? And this place was at an upscale restaurant, so you had a lot of like upscale people coming through. So I had this Caucasian client, white, come through, and then he just sits down with his friends, and then he starts ordering. But the way he ordered was in Spanish. So he tells me, "Me puede dar unas cervezas?" And I didn't think much of it. I was just like, okay, how cute, man. He's trying to speak to me in Spanish, whatever, you know? And then about a few minutes later, he tells me, "Me puedes traer el menú, por favor?" And I'm like, all right, man, this motherfucker probably thinks I don't know how to speak English or something. And again, I didn't make much of a big deal about it, right? And then he goes, Juan, ven para aquí, por favor. And I'm like, I was about to correct him and say, that's not my name, and I know how to speak English. But then he's like, mira, aquí la comida no está bueno. And I'm just like, then he goes to one of his friends right next to him and he says, oh my God, I wish these Mexicans knew how to speak English because this is America. I'm over here like, I'm so appalled. Like, oh my God, this motherfucker's trying to insult me or something. So I gracefully approach him and I'm like, excuse me, sir, my name is Louis. And I do, in fact, speak English. Now, if you would have given me a full detail of what you wanted to order in the language you were comfortable with, then maybe we wouldn't have this mistake going on. The look on his face when he knew he fucked up. And then I went, pero mira, si quiere practicar el español, está bien conmigo, pero no me ande insultando, okay? I guess he felt so bad because I got a $200 tip out of that, so.
What's the most disrespectful thing that's happened to you in the service industry?
Y'all know I've been waiting for this one, right? So y'all know that I'm a flight attendant. I was serving first class, serving lunch. When I was done picking up all the lunches, I walked back out into the aisle to make sure no one else needed anything. 2B, who was a white woman, stopped me and she said, you know something, your service was so amazing. If I didn't have one of your people working for me already, I would let you come and work for me. So I said, your people? You have flight attendants who work in your home? And she said, no, you know what I mean, your kind. I have one of your people who works for me. Yes, she did. The black woman sitting across from her in 2C grabbed my arm. When she let go, I walked back into the galley and she followed me. She asked me, why didn't you get upset? And I said, because if I had, I would have been exactly what she sees me as. And she would have been expecting it. And then said, see, they're all the same. And number 2, I wanted to keep my job. So I had no choice but to just answer, I'm glad you enjoyed the service.
What's the most disrespectful thing that's happened to you in the service industry?
I was a waitress in a strip club, and this lady thought that I was somebody else, and she decided to Spartan kick me, like motherfucking boof, and I was carrying my tray full of drinks, doubles, I will add. Yeah, they spilled all over me. I fell onto Perv Row, which is like that row right by the stage, and then I had to chase her to get her to pay the bill, because at the place that I worked, if the bill didn't get paid by the person, I had to foot it, and I was not footing a $60 bill because I got fucking kicked onto a stage. So, needless to say, I did not get a very good tip because I was getting her to pay as she was being taken away by cops, so...
What's the most disrespectful thing that's happened to you in the service industry?
My very first job, I was a dishwasher at a restaurant. Made $6.25 an hour. One day I came in, server standing there, said chef walked out. Put her apron down and left, leaving me, the 16-year-old dishwasher, in the kitchen by myself. Kitchen, whole restaurant. I called the owner. He said, don't close the place. Do your best. I'm playing squash. That was the disrespect. Within 5 minutes of each other, four tops come into the restaurant. I sat them all, got them all menus and waters. Then I stood in the middle of the dining room and explained, I'm the only person here. I'm totally capable of taking care of all of you. It's gonna be a little weird. Please order. Once I have everybody's order, I'm gonna disappear into the kitchen. If you need a refill on your drink, stick your head in the back and say, hey, I need something. Because I'm gonna have to be back there cooking for all of you. They all agreed and stayed and had dinner. I think I made $100 in tips. That was in 2000.
Broken you, I mean God was ready where you're moving to. Just pick the right path and you can choose. Keep grinding like you got nothing else to lose. And when you get hit with them dagger days, when you stand and pray, looking for the answer to find a way. Cause you hate the life and you can't explain emotions that you're going through. Something's holding you, you've been shown the proof. So you know it's true, it's not overdue. So just put in the work and then blow up the roof.